teacher tried to fail me. So basically, it was the last week of the semester, and grades were due at the end of the week. So I checked my Power School to see my grades, and I noticed I have a D in this class. So I checked to see which assignments I failed, and it says I never took my final exam and I never took a chapter test. Which is not true because I have no missing assignments. I do all of my work. But he gave me a 0 for both of them. So the next day in class, I joined his Google Meet. So I unmute myself and I'm like, Mr. Man, can you open the test so I can either retake it or see if you just messed up my grade? As soon as I said this, he turned off his camera and his microphone. And he ignored me. So at this point, I was like, time to take things into my own hands because I know I did not get a 0 on both of these assignments. So I worked my magic and I ended up finding out what my real test scores were. I got a 97 on both of them, but he gave me a 0. So I sent him screenshots of the score I really got, threatened to tell the principal, and my grade changed like that.
Do you guys remember when we were kids and it was like the most horrifying thing in the world for your crush to know that you like them? You would probably rather die than have your crush know that you like them. I mean, like, low-key, still me right now. But one of my first crushes that I had in 6th grade, he was cute as, like, he was everybody's crush. Like, everybody in my school liked him. He was, like, brunette, freckles, like, piercing blue eyes. And y'all, I was in love with this, okay? I was psychotically in love. This is the first guy that I remember, like, making fantasies in my head about. And although a couple of my friends also liked him, they didn't like him the way I liked him, okay? I loved him. I would have literally died for this man. Boy. But I guess, like, I had a good, like, loyal group of friends. Like, nobody told him that I liked him until I told this other kid. I'm not gonna say names, but I still remember this rap bitch, okay? I told him that I liked this guy after he begged me. He was like, I knew you like someone. Like, who do you like? So I told him. I eventually told him, and I was like, you can't tell him. And then you know what he does? Literally tells him that night. That night, he told him. And my 6th grade crush of knowing that I liked him was already mortifying and traumatizing enough. But y'all wanna know the story of what he said when he heard that I liked him? So that snake went up to him and was like, I know someone who likes you. And then the love of my life is like, who? Like, tell me, I want to know. Like, obviously he's gonna be curious. And he kept being like, no, I can't tell you. Maybe he was in love with him. Who knows? And then y'all want to know what my husband, future baby daddy, love of my life said? Is it Sahar? What do you mean, is it Sahar? He knew. He knew. According to him, I made it very obvious that I liked him. And he did not feel the same. It has been 10 years and I still have not fully recovered from it. I think that's where the depression started.
So this story time takes place back in high school. This all started off as a normal day for me. I got up, got out of bed, got ready for school, went through pretty much most of my classes that day, but then I got to lunch, okay? And lunch was a wonderful time, okay? Like, every time the bell rang and it was time for lunch, like, I would usually run to the cafeteria because, like, it was really one of my only breaks throughout the day. And this time was a little bit different, all right? They let out class, and me and 3 friends of mine got in a group, and we were just kind of slowly walking to the cafeteria in the hallway with a bunch of people. There were so many people out in the hallway going to lunch. Now, I remember during this time that Vine was blowing up really, really big. And specifically, this one Vine was blowing up. It was the one where the girl's walking through the school hallway, and she has a bottle, and she goes, "This bitch empty, yeet," and she just throws it across the hallway filled with people. So, you know, at the time, I thought that was hilarious. So yeah, me and my friends are walking to lunch, and my one friend's drinking a Gatorade. He's almost done with it. He had it from the vending machine, and it's almost done, and I'm like, you know what? When he finishes that, I'm gonna do something really funny. So he finishes it, and we're just about to walk into lunch, and there's just a crowd of people in this narrow hallway about to get to the lunchroom. And I look over at my friend. I'm like, yo, give me that bottle real quick. He's like, why? I was about to throw it out. I'm like, just give me it. He's like, okay. And he hands me it, and my friends are all looking at me like, what are you about to do with this bottle? And I just look at it, and I go, this bitch empty, yeet! And I threw it across the entire hallway into a bunch of people. And I didn't hear anything, no one yelled and no one said anything, so I assumed that I just didn't hit anybody, which was a good thing. I didn't want to hit somebody. I just kind of wanted to, you know, make the dramatic effect of throwing it into a crowd. But sadly, that wasn't the case, because right when we're about to go into the lunchroom, I see my teacher standing in the middle of the hallway around this whole crowd of people, holding the empty Gatorade bottle, and she looks at me and goes, "Did you just throw this into the crowd?" And I just hesitated. I was like, She goes, "Someone told me you just threw this. Did you, Austin?" I was like, yeah, I did. I'm sorry. She goes, well, it just hit me right in the back of the head. And when my friends heard that, they were like, all right, gotta go, Austin. Like, have a good lunch. And they walked into the cafeteria without me. And my teacher goes, go to the principal's office right now. take the bottle with you. So yeah, I go to the principal's office, I sit down, and I proceed to tell my principal and my counselor about how I threw a bottle into a crowd of people thinking it would be funny, and I accidentally hit my teacher in the back of the head. And my principal and my school counselor just like go on this whole like 10-15 minute rant about how I can't be doing that. It's not funny to throw bottles into crowds even if they're empty. Like, I could seriously hurt someone or hit somebody in the eye. And I understood, and I was like, I'm sorry, like I won't do it again. And I didn't plan on it, trust me. And they end up sending me back to lunch, which was good. I was like, okay, good. Like, I didn't get, lunch attention. I didn't get suspended. I didn't get really any serious punishment for what I did.
I remember when I was in elementary school, I used to have a crush on this boy who was in my class, and I was in love with him ever since I seen him. I just was so madly in love with him. We were in school together from kindergarten to like the 5th grade, right? So I had a crazy crush on him. And I remember one time when I was in the 3rd grade, we actually had gotten the same class finally. It was so many years where we didn't really have the same class. So, since I knew we were having the same class, I was actually a part of an after-school program that was in the same classroom as like my regular everyday classes. And so I had the bright idea of like, oh, maybe I should confess my love to him, this, that, and the other. So I wrote him a note, an anonymous note with my non-dominant hand. This is already how you know I was getting a little crazy. With my non-dominant hand, and I would leave them in his desk every day. And the notes kind of were deranged. They were not the best. I was talking about how much I loved him, this, that, and the third. And it got to a point where the teacher got involved. He told the teacher, and he was like, hey, this person keeps sending me notes and it's getting a little weird. And so the teacher read the notes, all of them, and addressed it to the class. And she was like, who keeps writing these notes? Who keeps leaving them in his desk? And I'm looking around like, oh my God, y'all are so nasty. Why would you say that in a paper? Why would you say that? That's so, It was me though. And in one of the notes, I just was like, I think the last note I sent him, because that did not stop me. The teacher addressing it did not stop me. I would get like crazy. I think in one of them, I threatened him. And one of them, the last note I sent, I was threatening him. And I'm like, if you don't like me, then you have 24 hours to respond or I'm gonna do something. Right? But it got to a point where we couldn't have after school programs in that class anymore because I was just getting crazy. And so after that, I remember I had asked my mom, I was like, hey mom, can you please follow him home so that I can know where he lives? And that was the whole plan, just so I can know where he lives. Why did she actually follow that kid home? And then why did she later on that day take me to his house and we just sat in front of it? Why did my mother encourage that?